in the background restreaming us? So I'm sure something's just gone out as I was speaking, but just for the recording purposes, hello everyone. Welcome to our 19th virtual bridge session. This is a series of webinars designed to connect the communities in Scotland and Northern Ireland, the EdTech enthused, as we like to call them, but really everyone is welcome. We choose a series of topics daily from Tuesday to Friday, always streaming at 11 a.m. And hopefully, if this is your first time, welcome. If you're watching on a recorded session, hi, please come and join a live session in the future. And without further ado, I normally pass on to the presenter for today. But I am filling in, so I do apologize. It's more of me. It does mean I get to choose another track listing because every session, every presenter that comes in chooses a track related to our COVID-19 experience. And we will be releasing an album shortly, given that we'll be getting to 20 sessions next week. So today's topic is, I prepared some slides very rapidly for you. I have to say these are slides that have actually, I drew upon last year. So let's see. That wasn't the most seamless transition I've ever experienced. This is true. Yes. See, and Jason is on hand, managing the live stream, keeping us right. That is a fabulous picture of me. So today's topic is about a course that was developed at, well, College Development Network have facilitated the development of a course around data science and specifically targeting colleges, but open to everyone. Not directly at students, though. This course is designed to introduce lecturing staff and support staff into the basic concepts around data science and potentially take them through the 4 stages of data science, which we've separated into data collection, data storage, data analysis, and data implementation. I'm going to say application, where we actually collect the data, store it, perform some kind of analysis, and then do something purposeful with it. Now, the course is designed to let lecturers learn more about the subject area, but also then give them the opportunity to design some kind of activity that they could run with their students. Now, you'll be happy to hear that the course was not developed by me or anyone at College Development Network. It was a partnership between DataLab, who funded the course, and the University of Stirling, who helped produce the course. Now, data science is something that we've been involved with for some time. And we have worked with various groups, including Education Scotland and Fife College recently, on various data science projects. Now, in the case of Education Scotland, we had a project last year that involved working with schools, colleges, schools, primary and high school, to deliver some kind of learning experience around data science. And it's interesting because we were tasked with delivering an activity to a primary cohort, a high school cohort, and the primary cohort was from primary 4, 5, 6, 7. The high school cohort was S1, S2, and the college group was a mixture of different college areas. Now, for that project, we managed to team up with a team called Digital CIC in Aberdeen, a small company who focused on education and technology, but used to run a lot of engineering, robotics, AI courses with various groups. So they came up with an activity with the primary school and the high school to build a simple voting device. And it was great to watch as somebody who typically works within a kind of college and university sector. I rarely get the chance to work with primary school kids, other than my own 2 daughters, which is another experience. But in this case, they were tasking the mostly older senior phase, but the primary school children to develop a voting box. This was to get a Raspberry Pi, connect it up to 3 buttons, put it into a modified shoebox, which saved as a casing, and to get them to ask a question and to get their peers to vote on it. And usually this would happen at school dinner times. So we went along for the first day. The students, I should have pictures of this, but I don't sorry. The students built the case in the box. They soldered and wired together the Raspberry Pi. They drilled, they cut, they attached. It was a joy to behold. Uh, and about 8 teams. We went to 2 separate primary schools. 8 teams built 8 voting devices. And we showed them pictures of how these same voting devices were being used in places like Glasgow Airport or your local IKEA to collect kind of customer satisfaction recordings. And you could ask a question and people would either press the green button, the yellow button, or the red button. Now, I really wish I had the videos to show for this, but they built them, they put them together, and we showed them how to connect the Raspberry Pi to a Google Sheet so that when somebody voted, the data was sent automatically to a Google Sheet to collect it. And then the task was, once they'd built the machines and they'd worked with the teachers to come up with questions to ask the school, they would run that over several weeks. And we came back and we showed them how to then get the data from the Google Sheet and then present it in different ways and ask various questions about the data and draw some conclusions from that. And I cannot tell you how good these students were at doing this. We had there was this kind of element of data science where you have to sometimes clean data because the data that you collect just gets messed up or is messy and you get problems with it. And we encountered this once with the primary school kids because oddly enough, when we had put, or they had put a box up with a question written on a sheet behind them asking, I think, was it about school dinners? I can't remember the question off the top of the head, but some enterprising souls had gone up to the voting device and did this with the buttons and therefore skewed the results slightly, which caused a problem with the data. And one of the girls in the class had come up with a solution, like entirely on her own, and said, like we should stop them from voting so quickly. And she had written some code in Scratch, which we were using to sort of manage the Raspberry Pi and send the data to only allow you to vote once every 5 seconds. And so it created a delay. So even if you were like tapping madly on the button, it wouldn't send through all of the data. So it was it was a stunning solution, but it gave me an insight into how young students and pupils can adapt to understanding working with data. And the opportunity to work with data is such an illuminating thing because data is all around us everywhere. And the more that we learn how to use that data effectively and ideally show our students how to manipulate and make that data work for us, that's a massive thing. So we also, and I know I'm rattling on here, but we also had a project with Fife College where we had some funding from a separate project where we managed to install a LoRaWAN gateway, which was a big network to collect data from various sensors. But primary school thing was awesome. The high school kids as well were so good. I cannot tell you. But anyway, I know the purpose of this is when we'd run these projects, we realized that there was an opportunity to do more with data science and get data science into pretty much every curriculum area that is being taught in colleges. There is, I genuinely believe that if we had a course that taught lecturers to learn more about data science, it is absolutely relevant for all students in every course to learn a bit more about data. And we could design activities that actually fit their curricular area because data is everywhere. So what we did is we designed this. I know I'm writing too much text on the screen here, but basically we designed a course, an open course where you could work through the content, learn the basics of data science, see it. Right. Okay. Do you mean you're seeing a page that says studio and a tiny, right? Okay. That's not great. Okay. So let let me you can see what I'm doing now. I'm just switching my screen to a single screen. Oh, you would have loved my slides. Can I just say that? You would have loved them incredibly. Were you? Were you? Yeah, I can see that. Okay, so I just let another people join. Wow. I'm so going to go back and redo these slides and possibly starting. But okay, so you've listened to me rattle on. So are you still seeing just the yes, right, okay. Um wow. That could have gone so much better, I feel. Um right, okay. Let's see. What can you see now? Since I can't see anything other than one screen. This is great. Well, what can I say? You're watching an expert at work here, clearly. Live. Yeah, I will stop the share and I will share the screen. Let's see. We really are. Okay, so you can see the presentation now. I'm not going to put you through that again. Yeah, I know. You can just imagine what happened. I'm so going to cut that. Right. So, apologies. Wow, you were just staring at my YouTube screen. Awesome. So basically, I said data science, did the project, schools, high schools, primary schools, colleges, Fife College. It was all good. We designed a course. The course was designed for lecturers, ideally, and was making them go through the basics of data science, learn about those concepts, and help them to design an activity for their students. The course was open, online. It runs through our Moodle. It takes roughly 20 hours of work, as well as if you include the design of the learning activity for students. It is a kind of self-taught course, but we are running 2 cohorts of students that are being directly supported by one of the authors from the course, who is John Bell. Now, the course itself doesn't expect you to have any experience of data science. You can come in knowing literally nothing about data science. In fact, that might be ideal. You're taught from a very beginner level through to understanding what it means to work with data and how it could work for you. There is some maths associated with the course, but John promises that the level of maths is simply, the highest level is really simple addition. He said that there is a formula somewhere with a plus sign and an equal sign. We also decided to look at the kind of technology that was being used to work with data science, because there are some very sophisticated tools and languages out there. But we made a decision early on that all the examples that we showed would be through the use of Excel only. Excel is the only tool we use in this course. And we made that decision because every college that we know of has, and student has, access to Excel. Although it is a challenge to make Excel interesting. I apologize to everyone who teaches Excel. So why are we doing this? Well, we did have this short video. Oh, this is John talking. Since I'm running behind, data literally is everywhere, and it applies to every subject area. So when we were thinking about why would a student want to learn about data? So say you were, I'm not picking on a subject area, but say you were a hairdressing student and you wanted to learn about data. Why would we convince you that learning about data was a good thing? And even if you were a lecturer, why should you learn about that and teach your students about it? Well, consider somebody working in that area is likely to graduate and then probably go into self-employment. I think the statistic is roughly around 40%. And that means that you are running your own business. So having access to data might be useful if you could do something positive with it. So what if you could collect all the data about your customer base and work out what it is that they wanted from you and how best to provide services to you? Could we show students some simple methods of collecting the data that was readily available, analyzing that data, and then acting upon it? And we think, yes, we can. So what we did was we set up the course, and inside the course, this is just the slide where I present to you and tell you that it was University of Stirling and DataLab who funded the course, who are working with us to develop the course continuously. And John Bell, who was going to speak today, couldn't make it, but he helped to write the course along with Kevin Swingler, who works at the University of Stirling. So in this course, we decided to show you that data science is everywhere. So we went into industry and we asked people, how do you use data? And we found examples all across Scotland with small businesses, large businesses, NHS, everyone that you can think of uses data in some way. And in some cases with the smallest companies, they would actually take the data and use Excel to analyze the data, work with it and make it work for them. Now, we give those examples in the course. And I think that's really important to show that the kind of things that we're asking lecturers to do and students to do are things that are actually happening in the workplace today. So in our examples, we show, this was an example from a company in Glasgow who monitor houses. These are usual council houses or rental apartments, and they put small sensors in the apartments. And just by measuring things like the amount of oxygen or carbon dioxide in a house, they can measure the quality of the house, and then they can direct sort of maintenance for those houses very efficiently by sending them to places like the one pictured on the screen to sort out any issues that might come up. And this also really helps with properties which are unoccupied. It's staggering to see the kind of work that's carried on. And the work that they do, this company was called IOPT. It's amazing how simple the technology is, but how effectively they use the data. So in the course itself, we teach about various aspects of analysis, everything from the way to describe the data that you have to using the data to predict future action, and also to allow it to inform the kind of decisions that you're likely to make. But all the information is presented quite simply using simple graphs, simple flows. We have a couple of students here today who are currently on the course who will either confirm what I'm saying or not, to say that it is pretty simple to follow along with. All of the data and the models that you're presented with are usually presented in a simple table format. At most, the complications are bar charts, scatter graphs like this. It's pretty easy to follow. And the reason why that's a good thing is because you can take that and use it with your students. Now, in these kind of I've mentioned that we only use Excel in this, and inside the course, the most complicated that we get is really simple Excel sheets with simple rows and columns of figures. You could pick this up and follow along within a day quite easily. It doesn't get very complicated. It is just basically an Excel sheet. There can be a lot of data in there. We have video tutorials with John leading you through the various exercises that you need to complete in Excel to give you a better understanding of how to manipulate data. This is a lady, Sarah.
Things that I was really disciplined about was making sure that everything went into the booking system, regardless of whether it was taken over the phone, by email, last minute somebody is showing up, everything in the booking system. So then you have a data source. And then it's just a case of exporting that data and using pivot tables. So I love a pivot table. Best thing anybody ever taught me how to use. But yeah, using just Google Sheets, so nothing fancy. You don't need, especially when you're early stage, you don't have a huge amount of data. So just Google Sheets and then formulas to calculate things. And it's just really thinking through the logic. So even if you don't know how to use Excel or Google Sheets, that's actually the easy part. The hard part is the logic. So think through what the problem is that you're trying to solve, and then you can ask somebody else to write the formulas who knows how.
And so Sarah is from a company called Scott Beer based in Edinburgh, and it's a very small company, but she explains how she uses Excel as a live example of a real life example of how she uses data to manage and predict her business. I mean, it's interesting in the sense that real people are using that to deliver real change in their business. And if you understand a little bit about data, it can make such a difference to you in almost every aspect of your working lives. There is an assessment in the course, and the assessment is basically to create an activity for students that matches the current learning outcomes of a unit that you might be delivering. So we want to create a series of reusable activities, which we want to then distribute under an open license around the community to engage more people and to get them to think about maybe running some kind of data science activity with their students. Now, we do have two students, two people who are currently going through the course, and I'm glad to say it's Mary and Diane from Edinburgh College. Hello.
Hello.
You've completely witnessed my inability to use Zoom. It's what can I say? So, Mary, what's your cohort that you're working with currently? What subject area are you teaching?
So I teach in the core skills section. I used to be with the computing team. I was with them for about 20 years, and then I moved to core skills, and basically level 4 to 6. So we're basing the assessment that I'm going to do, or the activity that I'm going to do when I get to the end of the courses for level 4. So it's for the lowest, well, one of the lower levels that I'm teaching. And core skills, we have numeracy, IT, communications, all the basic core skills. I'm obviously on the IT section with Diane, and it's just, I think for me doing the course, it's opened a whole new area that I can incorporate into my teaching, because before I taught Excel, and Diane and I have taught it to an advanced level, but this is bringing in a whole new thing, and it's such a growing field, the data analytics. It's everywhere. I think for students, if they want to get a job, this is what they need to be doing, because it's in engineering, it's in social science. You know, I have a son that's an economist in the Scottish Government, and that is his job. He just analyses data all the time. And it's just such an interesting field. I mean, it is kind of the buzzword just now, but I think it's going to help students get a job if they can, you know, have a course that's concentrating on data science. So that's kind of my area, and it is quite the task I'm doing is going to be collecting data and then hopefully cleaning it up, making it usable, and then getting the students to analyze it and then make predictions for the future. So, you know, using those things that I've learned on the course, I really like the pivot tables. I have to say, I haven't done pivot tables for ages, but I'm getting right back into them. So that's really good as well. But I just think it's it's the trendy thing just now. You need to be able to do it, you know, to get a job, or to get a really good, you can get a great job if you can, you know, do data science. So I think I'm only halfway through the course at the moment.
But I mean, and I suppose I should say that the course isn't really designed to make people data scientists as such.
No, I know, I understand that.
Yeah.
But I think even understanding the concepts, and a lot of our students may open their own business at some point in time, and then being able to analyze their data, like that lady who had opened the beer company or tours around Edinburgh involving beer, and analysing her customer footfall was really interesting. You know, how she analysed what time of the year she needed to have enough tour guides, you know, so making these predictions is critical to your business.
Yeah, I think I think just having just a little bit more understanding of what data there is out there and how you can use it definitely can help. And Diane, can I ask, and I haven't paid you any money to say this, the course is a continuously evolving work in progress, and we do hope to improve on the course as we get subsequent cohorts going through it. But how do you feel about the technical difficulty of the course? I mean, are you a data scientist by trade? Do you come from that kind of background?
Unfortunately, no. No, I have managed to cope with it pretty well. My Excel skills at that level are a bit rusty, but it kind of came back. I quite like Excel anyway. So I mostly work with students who are have additional support needs or are entry level students, and I think that it will be useful for them to appreciate what is being done with the data about us out there. And I hope that also having some basic understanding of data science will give them a bit of an edge over perhaps potential candidates going for jobs who don't have any understanding of it.
I think that's true. And to be honest, so John Laird is here with us as well. Hi, John. And to be honest, like I was stunned by how good the primary school kids were when they were working on things like this. Like it's if you don't work with those cohorts, it's so surprising how switched on and how quickly they pick this stuff up. How do you feel about data science in schools? Not just colleges. So, John, what do you think about that? Do you think there's a place for it?
I think that there's definitely a place for it. There's an opportunity to encourage kids to think about it, because as they grow, that's going to be an even bigger part of their life. And without some understanding of the concepts and the ideas, they're missing a trick. So I think it's definitely a growth area. And I think their familiarity and enthusiasm generally around technology, it will make it an easier access for them. Although, you know, it's enthusiasm for phone technology, but still, I think the constant use of data, how it's impinging on the adverts they're getting, on the decisions made around them, are going to be quite significant. And in the way that we've incorporated media studies in the last 10, 15 years, a lot more in schools, I think the understanding of data and the use of data has to be one of those things where they will have thematic work quite significantly growing in the future.
And I know there has been a lot of work by DataLab, which is one of the 8 innovation centres in Scotland, to promote more use of data science. And they've been working with schools, also with us, with colleges, and certainly within the university sector. There's so much happening in Scotland around data science. And although it is a kind of popular buzzword at the moment, I would say there is an element of hype, justified hype, around data science. It's so important, because the more you learn about it, the more you understand that it's absolutely everywhere.
Yeah.
So, Jason, I completely forgot to ask previously if anyone had asked a question. Despite my sort of faux pas with the YouTube screen sharing, has anyone tweeted since we've been on? You could just make something up, though. You know, I would never know. I'm quite gullible. I blame myself entirely for that. But so coming to the last few minutes of this, I genuinely think data is something for everyone. So is there anyone here with a question just around the course or data science or working with students? I feel Walter always has a question, although he's connecting to audio at the moment. So it And I know that there are data science courses, obviously, that the SQA are delivering, which Walter has some experience of as well. So, Walter, does data science have a place in education today?
Absolutely, Kenji. I couldn't agree with any more with the kind of line that you've been taking today, which is that it is for everyone, and there's a place for data science in all disciplines. Particularly, I think people who are in the science area, environmental science, and the example given from retail was very interesting as well. So I would encourage all who are listening in this call to find some way of engaging with the basics of data science. And as well as the course that is available through you, there are other courses available through, Coursera and Future Lab and so on. So yep, definitely there's a place for it, and it's something that we all should have some familiarity with, especially in the light of what you presented yesterday, Kenji, on fake news.
Okay, well, on that positive note, I know we're coming to the end of our 30 minutes. So just for the purposes of those who are joining us via the recorded version, I will admit that I may have edited the recorded version slightly to edit out my mistakes. So even though somebody might have made a comment about something that went wrong, don't listen to them. Nothing happened. It's all as you saw it in the recording. It all went swimmingly well. So hopefully, thanks for joining us. Hopefully, if you have time, you'll be able to join us for a future session or watch one of our previous recordings. But until then, please stay safe, and thanks again for joining.
Thank you.
That's the bit where I pause just because I edit it for the recording. So then I make edits to cut out all the mistakes I made. I genuinely don't make that many mistakes. Well, all this evidence to the contrary. But yeah, good. And Walter, good point about the virtual slides that I was just making up and referring
We're
to.
still recording, aren't we?
Well, we are.
I presume you'll chop this bit, won't you?
Yes.
Yes.
So this bit is technically actually being live streamed. So let me stop the stream. Yes. Oh, please say something. Yes. Useful. We actually have another webinar just after this. Yeah, we do. We've got another joint JISC webinar on the new public sector accessibility guidelines or regulations, and how to make your digital content adhere to the new regulations. And that starts at quite possibly 1 o'clock today. Something else I have to prepare for. So yes, I will edit the stream, but thanks for joining us. If you've stuck it out, thank you very much, and we hope to see you next week.
Bye.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye.
Bye.